Hello. How about now? No. Okay. Well, let's keep going, pretending that they can hear us, so that we can continue. If they can hear us, we'll catch up, everybody.
Oh yes.
Yes, they can hear us now. Yay. Okay. So.
Unfortunately, we don't have time. Let's just quickly do it all again.
Okay.
Just because, like, we have all
Let's go
the time
back in time. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. Hey.
Hello. We're at Logic Apps Live.
We've been talking for the last 15 minutes, and we're going to start all over again. So, as you can tell, we are live on the show floor at Build, which gives us all the technical challenges you'd probably expect. So let's just get right into it and talk about what's new right now, and what we were talking about at Build this week, and what we can ship for you guys to start playing around with. The first one is our better integration with Event Grid. Scott showed this on Monday in his keynote. There was a breakout session as well. There's some links in a minute. It really shows the power of event-driven integration with Logic Apps. So it's as simple as going to the event source, like a storage account, and being able to just wire that right up to Logic Apps that you create from that storage account experience, where you just pick a template, wire it up, 3 clicks, and you create a Logic App that's going to consume the events from files being added to blob storage or whatever else you want to add to that storage account, and just firing events immediately to that Logic App. And I'll show that in a demo in a few minutes.
All right. Complex conditions. So we showed in the last webcast how we're adding these complex conditions. So now it's actually live in production. So you don't have to go to that expression builder anymore to do something more complex. And you can combine groups of conditions as well as multiple lines in that condition too. GovCloud. So we are now live in US GovCloud. So you can go ahead and build your government solutions in our GovCloud. Go ahead and party in the government. The government guys party?
Probably not. If they want to, I'm sure they're allowed to.
Request schema validation. So now if you have a schema on your request trigger, before what that did for you is it tokenized all of the properties in that message that was coming in. Now you can click a checkbox to say, hey, if there's a message coming in, it doesn't match to that schema, we can return an error, so then the Logic App doesn't have to be busy handling that validation itself. Chunk handling between the limits. Only all done. What that means is when you have large messages, and large messages for a Logic App is 100 meg, but a large message to a connector may be something smaller. So as those messages come in, let's say your connector is only 50 meg, we will go ahead and stitch those together if you have something still less than 100 meg, and then handle it properly in the Logic. So now that's all working. Track Property Designer.
Yeah, so this is something that's been there for a long time, but you had to go to CodeView to do it. So this is the feature where you want to be able to track your own properties. We emit a whole bunch of telemetry out of the pipeline as Logic Apps run. When each Logic App step starts and finishes, and the Logic App itself, and what the output and the outcome of each one of those actions was. But sometimes you have your own business data items. Maybe you've got orders flowing through, and you want to pull out an order number. Track properties in the designer is a way of doing that right there in the designer, where you can just provide the path to that item in the messages or files or data flowing through your Logic App, and being able to spit that out, do a diagnostics pipeline, and then you send that off to Log Analytics, use our out-of-the-box solution to do that, and then we will show you all the track properties in Log Analytics. You could therefore search on these data properties, like maybe it's an order, maybe it's a patient ID, whatever it is. You can very quickly now, across the sort of sea of data, across all of your Logic Apps, be able to find particular instances of your Logic Apps based on track properties in the designer.
Okay. Degrees of parallelism for split on and request triggers. So now, for these other types of triggers, you can actually control the level of parallelism in your Logic App. So we've done some pretty complex engineering to make that magic happen. So imagine that you have a request trigger and someone counting on that request trigger, you can actually set what that limit is. Then those requests come into the Logic App. Did you take over?
I didn't do a thing.
Okay. The next part is resource summary part. I'll just stop showing. The resource summary part. Here we go. The resource summary part is a little section of resource plays you a summary of what's happening in your logic app, so you can see what type of triggers are, what connector you're using in that logic app, last time it ran, all that nice information. Especially if when you have, like, say, like a schedule trigger, it gives you like the next runtime and interesting data about it as well. And error control. So there were some connectors that required a collection of items to be added to the connector. For example, if you want to add a collection of email attachments in the Outlook connector. Now you can do that. We've added a new control in the designer, so you can add multiple line items in that connector. And we have new connectors. So the data factory connector. So now we have that factory connector where you can start pipeline and then wait for that pipeline to complete your logic app, and now we can have that better together with Azure Factory as you get the massive data movements going across our two services. John taught the the new event grid experience we had. One of the things we added to the connector itself was the event type filter. So previously you had to yourself have a case statement or an if else statement. Now we'll actually add that filter to the trigger. Then your logic app isn't creating instances of event that it doesn't care about. Another thing we've added is for AS2, it now supports up to 100 megabyte messages.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know what else to add.
Okay, just making sure I didn't miss anything there.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk about the next one as well. For EI decoding, the ability to override the preservation of the interchange. So this gives you additional parameter control over how we process the interchanges that are flowing through your logic app. For those of you who know what this sentence means, you understand the value of this feature.
And then there's a bunch of other third-party connectors that have come in. So these guys have come to us and wanted to build these connectors, and now they've been released. So what's next? Ooh, okay. This is a bit of a fast run through. I'm afraid like somebody's going to run us over.
Yeah. Maybe we should we do the
demo? Want to go to the demo? Let's go to the demo
now. Yeah. So.
Can you take it over? Do I have to do something?
I think I can. Let's see if it changes. I'm going on sharing. Just a few seconds so we can see what you can see.
Survey says.
Yeah.
Come on.
Quite the delay.
Left by design. Let's see what I see.
Let me try that again.
I think what we need is a producer.
Yeah. It's on the screen. Share. Here we go.
Now they see me. Come in.
We are on the show Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think it's working because it's just showing the camera. Yeah. And then it should hopefully flip over to my shared screen any moment.
So while we're doing that, let's continue chatting, and we'll figure that out in a second. So there were a lot of interesting things that were talked about, building stuff about cognitive servers and bots, and this is a great opportunity to just go ahead and start using a logic app to start integrating those great services. And John is still trying to figure out how to share.
Yeah.
And
what we could do is give you, we could spin the PC around and give a quick tour.
Right, oh, here we go.
I mean, that could possibly go disastrously wrong, right? So just a quick look.
For those who are not built, wish you were here.
Without pulling all the cables out. So, yes, we're here. It's awesome. There's Theatre 2, where we just did a presentation. Lots of people down.
Like kind of 1 frame a second.
Yeah, I expect you'll see lots of little snapshots of everything.
Webcast?
Yes.
Very brave of you to do it right here in the middle of this.
Yeah, because people could just come up and start talking while we were broadcasting, right?
In front of you or something.
We're going to ask you to join in and say something funny if you.
No, I just prefer that. Okay.
Right, I cannot share my screen if you can't see it.
Oh.
Really
well, let's get on to the new stuff. And then we'll come back to that to make sure that at least we'll figure that out in the meantime.
We're doing it now.
Oh, no. So it's gonna do it.
Okay, so let's get back to the slides. John will figure out the technical difficulty with with this demo, but let's talk about what's in progress.
Hey, at least we're really being honest about it being here and now, right?
It's real. People are just coming up to us and talking to us. So the next big thing that we have is improved connector browsing. So we're going to give you an experience so that we can categorize the connectors, and so you can tell which ones are the built-in connectors and which ones are the standard connectors and the upcoming enterprise connectors. And so it's a much easier way to go ahead and categorize. And we'll be doing some more interesting things, with that change in terms of, should we say it, smart connectors.
Yes. You went and said it.
I did, because I had to tease everybody.
Yeah.
Snippets. So snippets is the ability to have a piece of your logic app where you can take a pattern and then reuse that pattern. So for example, when we have a try-catch pattern, we can go ahead and quickly pick a snippet and add it into your logic app. This is actually done. I should put this in the done list.
This is actually done.
Yeah,
Yes.
look at that. So it got done so fast rather than me typing up the stack.
Yep. So we've had XLT1 support for ages. We now have XLT3 support. This was a standard. It was only released, I think, last summer. So, we're really up to date with the features to be able to provide you, the latest and greatest. So XLT3 gives you the ability to map not just XML, but also do JSON mapping as well. It's also back compatible with XLT2 and XLT1. So you can use all of those great XML mapping features now, all the way to the latest Rev standard.
All right. What's next? Service bus ASCII support. So today you have support of the namespace. So in this way with the ASCII support, you can actually go down to the actually and key as well. So that will come with some other interesting multi-auth scenarios for connectors. Azure China Clouds are in the process of deploying to Azure China. It'll be probably another month or two. We'll see. We're in the process of doing it. Going into through the Great Wall is going to be a little challenging, but we're doing it. So it's going to take a while, but we're in progress. And then finally, connectors. So we have an updated SAP connector. You want to talk about the connector?
Yeah, this is coming really soon. So today we have one-way SAP integration. So you can call from Logic App via the data gateway to SAP. You can even get a response back, so request reply. What we're adding in the next few weeks is the ability to go the other way as well. So you can actually generate data from SAP and have it call a Logic App. So completely trigger push based. It'll fire a Logic App when interesting things happen in SAP. So you can create these kind of flows where you're receiving orders and generating invoices from them, at some later point in time directly from SAP. Really super easy to set it up. We do all the kind of hooking into SAP for you via the data gateway. This is coming very soon, and then coming very soon after that are more SAP connector improvements. The ability to generate these schemas right there in the Logic Apps designer. So that you can use that to then map into the etc. that you have to have connecting and integrating with SAP.
Going to be very exciting. SAP is going to be cool. Today we have a Workday HCM connector, so human resources and human capital management, and we're working on a Workday finance connector. The next connector we have is SFTP. So we're going to now handle large files. We're revamping the connector itself so that we can do large files. SFTP. And then finally, I already talked about the Service Bus ASCII support as well. So we have the next big event that we have is Integrate 2018. So that's happening.
Not long away now.
No, June 4th. That's
3 weeks.
Yeah, three weeks away. If you want to find the product team, come out to London and go to the Integrate event. You can see the product team talk about integration. We'll talk about API management and Service Bus and Event Grid and functions, and of course Logic Apps and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So we'll be setting up side meetings as well. So if you want to talk to us about a particular project you're working on or challenges you've got, there'll be plenty of time. We'll be there all 3 days, every day. So having to meet everybody and spread the word. And it's a bigger event this year. It's kind of 50% bigger than previous year. I think it's selling out fast. New venue as well. So we're all really looking forward to coming over there and kind of talking integration 3 days with everybody.
Yeah. What else is coming up?
Uh,
Oh, build sessions.
Yeah, so I added this just to surprise Kevin. So all of these sessions, I think, are recorded, so they'll go up on Channel 9. I think some of the ones on Monday. Yeah, these are breakouts. Some of these are probably already up there. We had a session from MSIT, our own Microsoft internal IT, who are talking about how they did their digital transformation from their on-premise integration, supply chain management to Logic Apps and a bunch of other serverless technologies like Azure Functions. Really great talk to sort of show you, real-world example of how a customer of ours has completed this transition to Azure. We've got a session this afternoon. I have no idea whether this is live or not, but it will be recorded, where we're going to be talking about the value proposition of using integration services together, API management, Logic App, Service Bus, and Event Grid. Today, where we talked and focused all about serverless computing in Azure, led by Nir, a whole bunch of cool demos and all the types of things you can do today using the new features in Functions, the new features in Logic Apps, the new features in Event Grid, all kind of wrapped up in a sort of end-to-end scenario.
A lot of fun stuff. And there's a bunch of theater sessions. I don't know if the theater sessions
a whole bunch. So just keep an eye on Channel 9 on the build channel, and you
and
should
of course,
see this stuff appearing.
in Scott Goose keynote, they had a nice little section on Logic Apps and serverless, and a really great plug for us.
Yep, absolutely.
And of course, you can always reach out to us at Logic Apps blog. Look at our roadmap. We have a roadmap up on Trello. You can go check out. If you want a new feature, please come to Logic Apps-Wish. Yep. And as always, Logic Apps Live is here for you guys to hear us mess up technology.
That's right. Okay, let's try to do this again, because I think
you figured it out.
I'm sharing, so I think you need like go and give me control, because otherwise it just shows what you have.
Let me stop sharing. You guys can look at my face while I'm doing this.
You got to make the most.
You click on. I think if you click on that.
There we go.
And hopefully,
is that it?
It's doing something.
Yes,
it's trying.
Yeah.
There's me dancing around like a fool.
Yes.
There we go.
It's working.
It is. All right. So this is really cool. It's like here I'm just going to start off with a simple example. I'm just going to show you how easy in 3 clicks you can create a Logic App from an Event Grid event. So I have a storage account. Let me just kind of zoom in a little bit. I've got a storage account. I can just open this up. And what I'm going to do is create a Logic App right here from the storage account. So we have this new capability. Problem?
I don't think it was showing.
Oh, okay.
See if it's showing.
No, it's not. It did, right?
There it goes. Now you're good. Now you're good. Okay.
All right. So I'm in my storage account, and right here on the left-hand side, I now see a new link called Events. And when I click on this, I will see this new experience that we literally shipped at the start of the week. This is what Scott showed in his keynote in Slideware, and it works. So you have the ability to create a Logic App directly from the storage account. And we've got a few kind of examples here. Zoom out, kind of formatting looks a little bit better. So I'm just going to pick the first one. What this is going to do is fire every single time a new file gets written to my container in blob storage, and then delete it after a period of time. So just like 3 clicks. So I'm just going to click Create. This is going to open the Logic Apps Designer with our pre-curated template with everything pre-filled. So second click, I'm just going to use the 2 connections I've already got. Obviously, I need a connection to Event Grid, and I need a connection to blob storage as well. And if I just literally save this 3 clicks, it's going to ask me for a name of this thing. I'll sort of go into like what it does in a second, but let's just get this thing running. I'll just call this Logic Apps Live, pin it to my dashboard, oops, and close it. So I now have a Logic App being created from that Event Grid storage event. So just a few seconds, it's going to appear on my dashboard, and I'll open it back up again, and you can kind of see the new experience with the Event Grid and the event type triggers that we just added. Okay, here we go. It's completed. Let's open it up. And I'll just make a couple of changes to this because it's by default it's actually going to delete my file after I think 30 minutes. We don't have 30 minutes, so I'll just change it to something a bit quicker. So look, now when I open this up, you can see right here that it says, it knows what my subscription is, it knows what my type is, I've got storage account, it's got my resource name, and I can also filter by event type, not in this example, but you can see how I can use a condition, and I can say I'm only interested in particular events, in this case, where files have been created. As I mentioned, I'm just going to change this 30, actually it's 30 days, not 30 minutes, so let's just take this down to 30 seconds, and I will save this. And now I will go back up to my storage account and fire this logic app. The Wi-Fi is struggling. So it's going to Storage Explorer. It gives me a great way of just being able to add files in. I've got this container. I'm going to upload a file. Let's open that up. And just show you what's in this thing. An event, let's put it in and see what happens. The right thing, yeah, I'm just going to upload that, and let's just sort of leave that loading the file. Hopefully it won't take very long, as it's like 14 bytes or something. I'll go straight back to my logic app and see what's going on over there. Just refresh this thing. And you see it's running straight away, so I'll just open it up and we should be able to just watch this logic app complete in real time. And it's going to open it up, and because it's got this delay in it for a period of time, you see it's already actually 30 seconds have elapsed already. It's got this delay. It sat there and waited for the file to be deleted, and then like the final step is I delete it from blob storage. And just to prove it works, actually let's just open this up and sort of show you the actual event that I received. That gives me the path to the blob storage event, so I can just easily pull that out, grab the file contents if I want to, do some logic on that, very, very flexible. Let's go back to my storage account, and by the power of Grayskull, I should see that my Storage Explorer should have no files in it. This is suspense is killing me. Look at that!
Look at that! There's nothing in there. Nothing up your
in
sleeves,
there.
literally.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right.
Blob sleeves.
Yeah. It's none of my cameras on.
All right.
Wow.
There's your face. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
All right. That's
Why
it.
is my camera on?
Because I'll take it over.
All right.
Okay.
Great.
So that's it.
Yes.
I think we gave people a pretty good taste of build. We had, the app service team coming up and interrupting randomly.
Okay.
We had bins being emptied. I mean, giving people a full taste of what it's like here at Build.
Fantastic. So I hope you guys had fun watching Logic Apps Live.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of Build.
Yeah. Check out the sessions that are uploaded to Channel 9. Coming to Integrate next month. It's going to be awesome.
Come see us.
Yeah, come see us. And look for new announcements in the next edition of Logic Apps Live. Thank you.
All right.